Welcome, everyone. This is Lori, your health coach here at Resolve Medical, and all of your team here at Resolve Medical would like to welcome you to our 3-day detox challenge. A couple of basic information things we'd like to go over first before we get started here today. First of all, I know you're going to love this. Our functional medicine practitioners are going to be sharing so much information with you today on detoxification, how to strengthen your body for that, and how to support your body through it. One of the fun things that we have in store for you throughout these next 3 days are some fantastic giveaways. Yep, we've got some prizes heading your way. There's some rules that we'll ask you to follow in order to sign up and become eligible for that. And you will receive those rules in your daily email. These sessions are recorded, and usually by about 3 p.m. each day, you will receive that email. In your email, it will have resources and updates from the information that we covered that day, and it will have all the information for the challenge and for the giveaways. Please remember, one of the rules for these giveaway and that participation is to be present if you can each day, or to watch the recording each and every day. Stay to the end. One of the key factors in our giveaways is going to be a challenge question each day, and you will receive that challenge question at the end of each day's session. All right, sound good? All right, before we get started, I would like to do a bit of a bio and introduce our functional medicine practitioners to you, give you a little bit of information on each of them. Dr. Norda earned his degree in neuroscience at BYU, his medical degree at Midwestern in Chicago, and did his family medicine residency in Texas. After working in memory care facilities for a couple of years in North Carolina, he decided that he needed to find better tools for preventing disease and found and completed a functional medicine training program. After starting his own private practice in St. George, Utah, he spent 2 years creating a roadmap to take people step by step through all the research-backed changes that they needed to make in order to build a resilient brain and enduring health. He and his wife, Amy, wrote a best-selling book called Power Couple Habits, and together they have 5 children. Dr. Norda helps coach the high school mountain bike team and loves outdoors, adventure, and serving in his church. Our other functional medicine practitioner is Brandon Lewis. He has a passion for optimizing performance, and he does this by really honing in on the details of nutrition, exercise, toxins, stress, and sleep. He loves sharing the science and the how and the why behind making small lifestyle shifts that make a huge difference in your health. He completed nursing school and worked for several years at the VA before getting his nurse practitioner degree from BYU. He then went on to complete his functional medicine training through the Institute for Functional Medicine. Brandon and his wife, Lana, have 6 kids and 2 dogs. They love making amazing food together, and they love being active and adventurous. You'll often find Brandon doing crazy things like fasting for days at a time. Yes, he does. Or running for days at a time. And he has spent, matter of fact, this last weekend canyoneering. He's quite the adventurer. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Norda and Brandon Lewis.
Right. Hey guys, I'm going to jump in and start out. Welcome everybody. We're excited for all of you who've shown up today. We want to make these days valuable and full of helpful and practical information. I just wanted to start out. Today's really Brandon's day, but I wanted to just jump in and share a few quick points. So first one is, we're just seeing, you've probably seen some of our messages on Instagram and other social media, but we're seeing so much so many problems in the way of toxins. And honestly, it's been a bit overwhelming for me. This isn't something that we learned in medical school. So going through functional medicine training and then really just kind of diving in with patients and figuring this out has been a process for us over the last several years. And I wanted to share some of the gems that we've learned along the way, and just some of the ways that you can kind of recognize if you have a lot of toxins and toxic issues potentially, and then kind of walking through how to help you work through kind of limiting your exposures to toxins and then overcoming or supporting your body's ability to eliminate those. So in the process, we figured out that we've tried to just give people so much information all at once, and it doesn't work well. And so we had to go back to the drawing board and kind of put together this step-by-step 8-week kind of roadmap course that walks you through the process. So hopefully you can gain a lot of helpful information from this 3-day course. And again, it's really set to help you to recognize and get some tips on how to start that process. And then if you feel like you need more assistance along the way, then you can learn more about the course. So that's point number one. Number two is learning about toxins can be a bit overwhelming and sometimes feel like there are toxins everywhere, and it causes kind of, again, overwhelm and stress. And that's not our goal with this, with our program, with this challenge. It's not to overwhelm you and make you feel like you're living in such a toxic world and there's no way around it, but really to allow you to see what you can do about it. So I would I would recommend that you just pick at least one thing each day that you can kind of focus in on and try to work on that, whether that's limiting exposure to some certain thing or starting a practice that's going to help you eliminate toxins. And again, if it feels too overwhelming, then certainly let's just talk. Let's do a phone call and kind of walk through what that process can be like. But the stress of it can be worse or as bad as the toxins. So don't let that part overwhelm you. And with that, I'm going to turn the time over to Brandon. I'm excited to hear his presentation talking about nutrition today. So, all right, Brandon, it's all you.
Thanks, Dr. Nord. Appreciate it. Let me share my screen with you guys so we can have something more exciting to look at than my face. Yeah, we're excited to be here, and we're going to try to start at the very beginning of toxins today and kind of build on it over the next couple days. So how's that? So first, let's just start at the very beginning. And thank you, Lori. Lori will be very active in the chat throughout this whole thing. She's amazing as a health coach, and thank you for the nice introduction and for getting us going. And we're excited. So let's talk for just a little bit about what do we even mean when we're talking about detox? Why is that important? What does it mean for you on the daily basis? So your body knows how to detox, and we have these built-in systems that work every single day to help support our body and detox. So we're not talking about like substance abuse detox. This is more metabolic detoxification, meaning your body's ability to process chemicals, hormones, compounds, and all these other toxins that we're exposed to, either break them down so that they don't harm the body or get them out of the body and eliminate them. So this is things that are going on through your liver and through your kidneys and through your lymphatic system and through sweating and through your large intestine. Your body knows how to detox. It's been doing it for so long. The problem is sometimes it needs just a little bit of a reminder because we're overburdened with so many different toxin exposures. So the question is if our body knows how, why is this reminder even necessary? Here's a really interesting graph that I found, just showing the chemical production from 1945 to 2007 in the United States. You can see that just over the course of, well, I mean, now this is outdated, over the course of the last 80 years, we have a 15-fold increase in chemicals that are produced just in our country alone. And it might be like, well, what are these chemicals even used for? And part of that, I don't know. A lot of them are new patents and used in food and in herbicides. And some of them we don't know, because check out this really interesting article. This was one. So there's a group out there with San Diego University that's really looking at, or San Francisco University, I believe, that's really looking at, University of California, San Francisco, that's looking at the impact that chemicals have on fertility and growth, looking for those future generations. So they did a study. This was only 2 years ago in 2021, where they identified 109 chemicals inside of pregnant women. 55 of those chemicals that they identified were chemicals that they've never before seen in human beings. So they were like, this is brand new. These chemicals, we're not really sure how they interact in the body, but here they are. And of those 109, 42 of them were just mystery chemicals. They didn't even know what these chemicals were. what they did, where they came from, how are we exposed to them. The underlying thought was the best thought would be we're exposed to them somehow, either through food or through exposures with cleaners and other things in our environment. So this isn't something that's not meant to scare you, like Dr. Norda said. This is something just to make you aware, like we are all exposed to chemicals every single day, from the food we eat with pesticides and fertilizers to the cleaners that we use, to off-gassing from furniture or flooring or environmental pollutants from cars, and all of the things. They're everywhere in our environment. We'll never get rid of them. So the question becomes, what do we do to fix that? So this is where we really have to decide, where are they and how are we exposed to them? And the three main components when we think about chemicals and where our exposure comes from is we're either taking it inside of us, so these chemicals are in us. That's usually food and water. Or they're on us. So think of personal hygiene products, whether it's sunscreen or makeup or lotions, perfumes, fragrances, body washes, shampoo, whatever it is, it's chemicals that we put on our body. And then everything around us. So that would be household cleaners, exposures that at work, maybe you have, whatever job you work at, there's cleaners there, or chemicals that you have to work with to do your job. Environmental pollutants, like you can see in this picture, from car exhaust, all those kind of things. These are the big three areas of chemicals. So today, the main one that we're going to talk about is chemicals that are in us. What do we do about that? And how can we make it so that we can, one, reduce our exposure to chemicals, and two, support the body's, remember, it knows how, support the body's detox mechanisms to get that stuff out. So the first thing that we look at is food, because 9 times out of 10, all of the things that we're eating are where we're getting all of this. Probably 99 out of 100 of the things that are getting inside of our body are from food, right? Unless, like, you have little kids like I do. Sometimes they put things in their mouth that aren't quite food. That might increase your exposure a little bit more. But for the most part, we're looking at chemicals, herbicides, pesticides, things used in growing the ground, growing the food that we're in, packaging that it's in the grocery market, anything from processing, packaging, delivering. It's all there. How we cook it, all of those kind of things. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to look at, how do we get toxin-free food? And is there a way to help support these through our food and removing toxins out of the body, supporting those main detox systems in the body? So this is one thing that we're going to make available for you. This is a detox food plan. This comes from the Institute for Functional Medicine. And this is really beneficial because it breaks down not only this comprehensive guide that shows in a step-by-step process of, hey, let me just educate you on what the benefits of this detox food plan is. So it shows you, what kind of foods should I eat to help support the liver, help support the kidney? What do antioxidants do in my body? Why is protein important? All of that stuff is covered in the comprehensive guide. And then to make it simple, there's a weekly planner and recipes that you can look at to help plan your day, plan your week, so that you can identify ways to increase your diet to support this detoxification pathway in your body. One thing to note of this is just an overview, right? This is a comprehensive guide that you would read on your own and implement on your own. The course that we created walks step by step through all of this so that you have a lot more success, a lot more support, walking through what nutrition looks like from a detox standpoint, step by step. But we want to make sure that if you feel like I got this on my own, this is a great resource to use. So when we look at this, there's a couple things to keep in mind. This is the first one. We want to really reduce our exposure to chemicals. So we want to eat organic. And a lot of times when we go in the grocery store, there's a lot of sticker shock that goes on when you see the prices of organic food, right? Because it's so different. And you think, is this really worth the price difference to buy organic compared to not? And how can we afford to find which foods are really worth buying organic and which foods maybe we could get by with not, so that it's more budget friendly? So the Environmental Working Group has created 2 lists. One of them is called the Dirty Dozen, and one of them is called the Clean 15. And what these are, the Dirty Dozen, as it sounds like, are the 12 most toxin-laden produce foods out there. So this is with pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, that kind of thing that would leave a chemical residue on your food. These are the foods that, and they test it every year, they update it every year. It's just those top 12, and Lori will put a link to it so you can download it and see it in the chat. These are the things that make it so that if you're going to spend money on an organic food, this would be the 12 to do it, because time and again, these are the ones that show that it just takes a lot of chemicals to mass produce them and to get them into the grocery store. The Clean 15, on the other hand, is just the opposite. This is when they go through all of that testing for produce. These are the bottom 15 of that list. So these are the 15 non-organic foods with the least amount of chemical residue. So if you're at the grocery store and you're wondering, man, where should I spend the money on clean produce? Look at these lists. The Clean 15, you're probably okay buying non-organic. Dirty Dozen, it's going to be worth it to buy organic food, especially if you're noticing any sort of symptoms that could be related to toxin overload and toxic burden in the body. And what I mean by that is a lot of like chronic disease. So if you're dealing with fatigue or brain fog or don't have the energy that you used to have, hormone dysregulation, weight gain, gut symptoms, joint pain. It's probably sounding like I'm just going down the body and listing every single thing I can think of. I kind of am, because all of these things are affected by toxins and your body's ability to just move out the junk and make room for clean, energy efficient production. So those two resources are going to be really good for helping you decide what to buy. And remember, if we look back at this other slide right here, we're looking for toxin-free food and toxin-removing foods. So this is the first part, toxin-free. So then we want to have the toxin-supporting foods. Like, how do we get these out of the body? I want to show you, first of all, I'll show you a little picture of the liver in just a minute, but this is where it comes. One of the biggest things that you can do is prioritize protein. And I talk about this a lot, but protein is used in what's called phase 2 detoxification in the liver. So if you think about your liver as a two-part system, the first part is when it receives chemicals in the body or hormones or whatever it is breaking down. The first part is to make those chemicals water soluble and break them down into smaller parts so that the body can get rid of them. The second phase is when we conjugate those chemicals and those substances to other things to move them out of the body, put them on that vehicle and get them out the door. One of the big players in that phase 2 detoxification is protein. A lot of the amino acids that we get from protein are used in that phase 2 detoxification. So you could be really good at getting all of the antioxidants and the B vitamins and everything used in phase 1 to break this stuff down. If we can't get it out of the body, we're going to hit a wall and it's just going to be reabsorbed. So usually look to make sure, are we getting enough protein? Are we supporting the body to get this stuff out so that then when we start to break it down, that system is already in place. That's why we talk about protein. So check out this picture of the liver, because I think it's pretty cool. First of all, you see that we have this phase 1. You can see that there's lots of different, one of the bigger enzymes and the cytochromes that are used inside that phase 1 is this P450 enzyme. We move that, and you can see at the very bottom too, all the micronutrients needed. So in order to have a successful detox food plan, you want to have something that meets all of these requirements. Are you getting enough B vitamins? Are you getting enough folic acid? Are you getting enough flavonoids? Glutathione is going to be huge for liver detoxification. And then as we get all that stuff ready, it's all packaged. Now we just got to put it on the transport and deliver it through phase 2 out of the body. Do we have all of these other things? And you'll see methionine, cysteine, glycine, taurine. These are all of those amino acids that I was talking about that will really help support getting this stuff out of the body, that conjugation phase. So both of these become important, and it's really cool to see how all of a sudden, all of these things that we eat in our diet are working inside your body to make you healthier, to make you feel stronger, to help that clean energy and that efficient production. So that detox food plan will give you the rough guideline of how to walk through creating a good meal plan that'll give you these nutrients and also emphasize that protein. The 8-week course that we have does it in a little bit more detail. It holds your hand along the way and gives you that step-by-step guidance that sometimes is just really nice to have, so that you don't have to think even more and just recognize and educate yourself as to why this is so beneficial. So at the end of that whole process, you look back and you say, oh man, I've made some pretty big changes over the last 2 months that are going to be sustainable, and it doesn't feel overwhelming and daunting. Oh, I think I clicked off of this. The other thing, when we talked about at the very beginning, is sometimes your body just needs reminded how to do this. So sometimes our toxin overloads and everything else that's going in our life, whether it's stressful triggers, or we already have inflammation going on, or we're not very good at regulating blood sugar, and all of these things that can impact our body's ability to function. Sometimes that balance is just tipped a little bit more than we can do through food. So we look to supplements to get things moving again. And like we told you in our emails and everything, we do have some amazing supplement protocols that we're going to share with you tomorrow. They're there for you. Today, this slide is to let me remind you that you shouldn't ever start a supplement without some kind of supervision, just to make sure that if you're on any medication, that it's not going to interact with what you're taking. So as we talk about and provide these detox recommendations through supplements, remember to still talk to your doctor, talk to your provider, so that they are aware of what you're going to take, what you plan on taking, and it's a guideline. So if you want more personalized, individualized attention, we can definitely talk about that and see if what we have to offer is good for you through a 15-minute call, or just take it back and talk to your primary care provider, whatever's best for you. Now let's talk about that other piece. So that's the big piece that if I had a choice, I would want you to focus on the chemicals that are in you by far, because 3 times a day we're eating something, right? At least 3 times a day, something's going in and it's exposing our body from the inside out to these chemicals. So if we can really help support the body from the inside, we're going to be really better off. The other piece to that is the chemicals on us and the chemicals around us. So the great thing about this is there's so many resources that I love to find clean products that you can use. And one of my favorites is that same group, the Environmental Working Group, has a list of products that are certified and stamped with their approval, where they go through all of the ingredients and do some extensive testing on these products to say, these are products that have met the Environmental Work Group seal of approval, where the overall chemicals that we're worried about that can cause issues in the body are not present. So Lori will share with you that link where you can just type in, you can search for specific products that you're looking for. We've also compiled a list of some of our favorites through an Amazon link, which Lori will also share with you. So there's a lot of different resources, but that one from EWG is a really good place to start with looking for chemicals on you and around you. And then when we're looking for the start organic. Choose something simple, or look for ways that we can add in some of those foods that are recommended in the detox food plan to help support detoxification from the inside out. Here's what that website will look like when you go to it. This is that EWG verified stamp of approval that you can find on products right there in the upper left-hand corner. And you can see, you can just go to this website and just search for them, whatever you're looking for, which is really awesome. So that comes down to the challenge question of the day. Hopefully, throughout all of this, not only now do you understand what toxins are and why we're even worried about them, because we can see that higher level of chemical overload in the world today that we're all going to be surrounded by. You can see that it's in us, on us, around us, all of these different ways. Hopefully something that we've talked about today kind of perked your interest or resonated with you of like, hey, this is a really good place where I want to start. One, I would love to know, where do you plan on starting? Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments of what you want to look for, because that's your challenge question for the day. I want you to pick one of those areas and let us know what it is. In, on, or around. And then just pick one thing. Maybe it's, Brandon, I'm going to work on the in category, and I'm going to buy one thing that I typically don't buy organic this week, or I'm going to prioritize protein in one of my meals tomorrow so that I can support that phase 2 conjugation liver detoxification. Or I'm just going to I'm going to search my products that I have that I use the most frequently on the EWG website, and I'm going to look for chemicals that are on me. Or same thing for around. Look at your cleaners. I just want you to pick one thing. And like Lori mentioned in the chat, all of this stuff will be in an email that's followed up. We'll have all that giveaway info so that you can respond to that challenge question, but let me know. Because overall, we're just working to get you minimized exposure to chemicals, supporting the pathways on going out. We really work hard to keep you on time, keep our discussion to 30 minutes every single day. What we're really excited for is this is the basis, this is the foundation, because without food, without understanding that toxic burden, we're a little bit lost in the detox realm. Tomorrow, when we get back together, we're going to hand the reins over to Dr. Norda to talk about his passion of brain health. What do we do to support detoxing the brain? How do we prevent Alzheimer's disease? What about brain fog and fatigue and all of those things that happen in the central part of our body that detox plays such a huge role in? So I'm really excited to hear what he has to say tomorrow, and I hope you all join us tomorrow. Please let us know if you have questions. Anything that you covered today, put them in the chat. We love to compile some, and we'll take some time on the third and final day to review some questions that are the most frequently asked, so that this is a little bit more interactive. Sorry, I felt like I just threw information at you today. But that's it today. Let us know in, on, or around what's going to be your area of focus and what are you going to do? Oh, here's one question since I have, how much time do I have? 1 minute from Brenda. What proteins can vegetarians use to support liver detox in phase 2? Great question. It doesn't have to be animal protein. So there's lots of great resources out there. Tofu, even things like beans, lentils. A lot of times you can still find like a really clean vegetarian plant protein that's going to be higher, like a pea protein, that's going to be higher in protein than what you can get from your generalized vegetarian foods. My overall answer to that question, Brenda, would just be, for the most part, it's probably the proteins that you've been relying on this whole time as a vegetarian anyway. So, okay, with that, thank you all so much for joining us. I'll leave the chat open for just a little bit longer so that you guys can ask any questions, and we will see you tomorrow.